Hello everyone, Jake here again. As some of you suggested in the comments, I decided to face the unknown and talk to Mr Gonzales about the unexplainable events at the convenience store. Since, if he has been alive in the store for so long, he must know at least how to protect himself. I quickly packed my things, locked the door to my house with a mix of apprehension and distrust, put the Ryan can in a black bag, and took it with me as I headed to the cafe where we arranged to meet. Upon arrival, I found Mr Gonzales in a corner, fiddling with a cup of what looked like coffee. Upon closer inspection, it turned out to be brandy. I sat down, greeting him, and he placed the cup on the table, giving me a consoling look. "Jake, I'm glad you decided to come. Your courage is remarkable, and we need someone willing to face the unknown," Mr Gonzales said. "And, of course, I also bet $20 with the sheriff that you would come, so thanks for the money too." He chuckled. I thanked him for the opportunity. The joke had eased the tension a bit, but every time I remembered what was in the bag in my hands, I trembled. I wanted answers. I wanted to understand what was happening in that store. Gonzales seemed to sense my unease and began to explain. "Here, Jake, we've been dealing with something ancient. Something rooted in the depths of the store. For years, even before I took over, strange things happened here at night. Shadows whispered, things that defy logic. But we've learned a basic rule. Ignore the thing, and it ignores us." "Strange things?" I asked. "And why didn't you warn us? Did Ryan know about this?" "Well, Jake, the thing only really shows up after a certain time, when a new employee comes. They're left in peace for a while. Usually it's 2 or 3 months before things start getting weird. That's why we hire around this time of year. The thing manifests itself in the dead of winter, and you can probably figure out why. Less movement, more tranquility, especially at night. And no, Ryan did not know this." This only increased my perplexity. Mr Gonzales was playing with lives here. I couldn't hold back and pulled the can out of my bag, placing it on the table. "You knew, all along. Knew that your negligence caused this." I pointed to the can. He seemed taken back. His eyes widened and he made the sign of the cross. "Jake, I didn't know this could happen." Sweat started to bead on his forehead. "But, if I can at least defend myself. I decided not to tell you because things only start when you're aware of them, or at least within the time frame I set. 3 months is the maximum it takes for it to manifest, and 2 months is the minimum. Usually, it's during this period that I call new employees to explain more. Maybe Ryan found out on his own. Did he tell you anything? He seemed haunted lately." I do remember his paranoia. "Yeah, he seemed frantic, but nothing more different than his usual conspiracy rants. I believe this time it was worse. He might have really found out, and I genuinely feel sorry for it, kid." He put his hand on my shoulder. "And to prevent this from happening again," Gonzales continued, now passing a folded paper to me, "these are the new rules of the job. Consider it a contract. Follow them to the letter, and you can continue working here. Don't think it's a normal job. It's a pact we make to keep things under control. Accept this, and you will be fine." I stared at the folded paper. "Take as much time as you need to read it, and if you agree, just sign it and come to the store tomorrow." With a lump in my throat, I accepted the paper and unfolded it. The rules were written in an old typewriter font. They seemed like a mix of superstitions and strange instructions. The content of the paper was as follows. "Contract of the Gonzales Convenience Store. Rules. Welcome officially to the Knight family. Firstly, we congratulate you on your courage in accepting this peculiar job. Here, you are not just serving customers, but dealing with forces beyond human understanding. Please read the rules below carefully, as they are essential for your safety and maintaining harmony in this establishment. Rule number 1. Greetings. By accepting this contract, you agree to keep sensitive store data confidential, namely, address, inventory reports, cash-in, cash-outs, names, and social media of the establishment or employees without express authorization. Disclosing information will compromise not only your safety, but the safety of everyone around you. As for strange events, nothing will prevent you from sharing, but be aware that it may attract unwanted attention. Rule number 2. Nature of the store. Understand that the store is linked to a supernatural presence. It has existed for decades, and the exact nature of this entity is unknown. We ignore its existence, and in turn, it leaves us in peace. Don't try to understand it, just accept it. Rule number 3. Lighting. Always keep the lights on. Avoid dark areas as much as possible, as the creature seems to be drawn to darkness. Light is your ally. Rule number 4. Closed compartments. When entering any room, such as bathrooms or storage rooms, do not close the door. The creature seems to have a control that we don't understand when you're in a closed room. Keeping doors open reduces risks. Rule number 5. Never-ending night. Remember, the night in this store does not follow the common pattern. Time may seem stretched or reduced, and the line between reality and the supernatural may become blurred. Stay calm and continue with your tasks. Rule 6. The offering. Upon arriving at the store, start your work as usual, but remember that at exactly 11:59 PM, place a plate of raw meat in the office and lock it from the outside. Usually, we ask the afternoon employee to prepare the meat and leave it aside. But if they are off or forget, you can use one of the available meats in the store. It won't be deducted from your salary. Rule 7. The meat corridor. Pay special attention to the lights in the refrigerated corridor where we store meats and cold cuts. If the lights there go out, try to quickly illuminate the corridor for the next 2 minutes. This usually happens when you don't follow the previous rule. If you can't illuminate it, see Rule 9. Rule 8. Night customers. Serve night customers as usual, but avoid prolonged contact or excessive questions. Some of them may feel uncomfortable or not what they seem. Rule 9. The weapon and emergency button. Have the weapon under the counter and the emergency button always at hand. Use them wisely. They are your last resorts. Rule 10. Special coffee. Always keep a fresh coffee available on the checkout counter. Some night customers have a preference for drinking something fresh at night, and if it's not the coffee, they gladly accept to drink your blood. Rule 12. Your ignorance. Likewise, if you hear whispers, someone tapping on your shoulder, footsteps behind you, or any other of these laws, ignore them. If the creature knows that you know it's there, it won't have a reason to hide anymore, and will become stronger. Rule 13. Breaking the contract. Any attempt to break or disrespect this contract will result in unknown consequences. The responsibility falls on the signatory. By signing this document, you agree to strictly follow these rules. Remember, you are now bound to something beyond human understanding. Good luck, and may your stay at the convenience store be long and safe. I stared at the paper for a while, trying to understand. I think it must have been about half an hour or so until I decided to sign it. The extra pay for this would cover my college expenses, and, well, if others have been in the store for so long, I believe the rules themselves are effective. Very well, kid. You can start tomorrow. All good for you? Sure. No problem. Either way, I couldn't sleep that night. Reverse circadian rhythm, coupled with anxiety and fear. I didn't have problems, at least not at home. At dawn, I went out to buy coffee, and found a circle of small, dead animals in the garden. That thing knew I was aware of it, and it wouldn't make things easy. I called Mr Gonzales, and he said that it's normal for such things to happen in the first week. The creature is testing you, seeing if you have the guts to stay in the store. I'm now on the work shift, and indeed, the boss wasn't joking when he said they test you. First, I went to check a toilet flush, A customer who had just left complained that it had been stuck. I barely remembered to leave the door ajar, securing it with a nearby bucket. The flush was just too tight, and I loosened it a bit, nothing major. However, as I was washing my hands, I saw the door sliding slightly, starting to pick up speed. I ran over and held it. It wasn't as if the wind had pushed it. There was indeed some intentional force applied. I held it tighter, and finally exited the bathroom, looking behind the door. Nothing. Nothing until I felt a poke on my shoulder. There was no one behind me before, and I chose to just ignore it. I struggled to contain myself as I felt the breath of whatever it was making a condensed sweat on my neck. I walked slowly to the counter and continued to act normally. That's when a shadow began to enter my peripheral vision, a dark mass moving slowly in front of me. The creature from the other night, with its oily hair in front of its face, came up to me, staring a few inches away. I grabbed one of the magazines and pretended to read, frozen with fear. This thing doesn't stop haunting me, whether in front of me or whispering in my ear how delicious Ryan was, disappearing when a customer appears and returning as soon as they leave. I'm taking advantage of the moments when it's out of sight to continue writing here. The problem is that it's becoming more brazen, and it started licking my face about 5 minutes ago. A customer is deciding which flavour of energy drink to take, so I'm taking the opportunity to finish writing and post this. I don't think I'm in trouble, but I'll be making updates between customers. Until next time. Update 1. Ah, crap, I forgot to put the meat in the office. I'm gonna go call Mr Gonzales right now. Update 2. Okay, I think everything is fine. I got yelled at, but I'm still in one piece. I'll bring more updates later. And this story continues to deliver. Fantastic development. I also love how troll this thing is. I respect it because this is exactly the dumb stuff that I'd do if I was a ghost and I was haunting someone for the fun of it. I'd be like tapping them on the shoulder and telling them they're going to break soon. The Mark has already finished writing part 3, so you know that's going to be the next upload from your favourite spooky boy. Until then, make sure you keep it spooky.